You're probably wondering why I don't have my Switch at the moment. Well, it's charging, so yeah. Well, when you look at the world of gaming and pop culture phenomenons, the biggest one that will pop in anyone's head, especially from the 90s, especially now, is Pikachu. Pokémon! Well, for this video, we will not only look at this franchise, how it's been going strong today, we will look at its starts, competition, like Yu-Gi-Oh!, and others, and its comeback with Pokemon Go, and even now. Well, the idea for Pokemon came from Satoshi Tajiri and his friend Ken Shigemori, who was an illustrator. Satoshi, who was interested in bugs as a child and wanted to be into entomologist. Basically, they study bugs. Then, in 1982, Satoshi started a gaming magazine with his friend called Game Freaks. He made his first video game with this guy, Ishihara, which would be Otaku, Otako, from 1987. I apologize for butchering names, I am so sorry. In 1987, Satoshi would eventually turn Game Freak into a gaming company with friends, and would release games such as Pulseman, Yoshi, and Mario and Wario. Satoshi and Ishihara came up with a game in the early 90s based on Satoshi's love for exploring forests, finding bugs, and other creatures. This game would eventually be pitched to Nintendo. Then we got the release of Pocket Monsters Red and Green in Japan on February 27th, 1996.
ねえねえ、私のポケットモンスターと勝負しない？
あんただーれ？
モンスター全部で150種類。通信ケーブルでモンスター取り替えっこ。スーパーゲームボーイならカラーで綺麗。仲間が増えるロールプレイング。ポケットモンスター。
With it being the first game of the Pocket Monster series, which was its original name, and then getting its US release in September 20th, 1998, and in Australia on October 23rd, 1998, and the EU October 5th, 1999. The following games that were released were Pocket Monsters in Japan. The following games that were released were Pocket Monsters in Japan, October 10th, 1999, and then Pokemon Yellow for Australia in September 3rd, 1999. North America in October 19th, 1999, and United Kingdom on June 16th, 2000.
Hey, little buddy, want a ride?
Pikachu!
Yeah, whatever. I'll be right back.
Where can you catch all 150 Pokémon? On your Game Boy, that's where. Pokémon for Game Boy is here. With both packs, you can catch them all.
The games were also developed by Shigeru Miyamoto, the creator behind Mario and The Legend of Zelda. And if you didn't know, the games were developed on cartridges for Game Boy as like, say, back in, like, the 90s, like, you know, like, parents, they would sometimes call it the colorful brick, unless you had the clear version of Game Boy. After the first few games were released, the creators were thinking, let's keep this going. Enter the Pokemon trading card game, which was the first collectible card game developed in Japan. It was influenced by Magic the Gathering.
Every day at Magic's game testing facility, crack geneticists are hard at work engineering new creatures to help you annihilate your opponent. Of course, mistakes do happen. Magic the Gathering. Beat your friends.
Which Ishihara was a big fan of. With the first set of cards being released on October 12th, 1996, with a total of 102 cards, and drawings were done by Ken Shigemori, Michiu Arita, and Kiji Kinbuchi. Then, in 1999, they came to the US thanks to Wizards of the Coast, which, if you didn't know, were also the creators, or like, you know, the funders for Dungeons and Dragons. And then everyone else would get it as well. However, they would eventually have competition in the world of card games with Yu-Gi-Oh!, which was released in Japan of 1999, but it didn't get released here in the States until 2002, which we'll eventually get to that point. Then, in 1997, the world was introduced to the anime that got kids into it, and parents either confused or annoyed by constantly seeing a yellow mouse. The anime was a huge success, with us going on adventures with Ash Ketchum, Misty, Brock, and others as they would catch Pokemon and be Pokemon masters. Although the show would have moments that would have controversy, whether the bikini episode, or the episode that would cause children to have seizures, with more than 600 children across Japan, with over 600 children being taken to hospitals. With the episode Computer Warrior Porygon. The show would eventually get its own film with Pokemon, the first movie, or Pokemon Mewtwo Strikes Back.
Unstoppable new enemy.
We dreamed of creating the world's strongest Pokémon, and we succeeded.
The film would get advertisement from Burger King, where you could get a toy, and the chance to get a collectible card, like 6-karat gold Pokemon card, with each enclosed inside a large plastic Pokeball. Although
else your kids may enjoy.
Pokemon.
Now inside every Burger King Big Kids meal you buy, your kids not only get more of the great tasting food they love, they get Pokemon toys and limited edition trading cards from Pokemon the first movie. Pokemon in the Burger King Big Kids meal.
After this, the Pokemon series would get new games with Pokemon Silver, Gold, and Clear in 1999 and 2000. Each game would have their own legendary Pokemon that would have a focus as the story. That would be, like, you know, like, say, the bad guys trying to capture at the end of the game. In this case, Ho-Ho, Lugia, Suicune. Then, in March of 2002, Pokemon the card game would have direct competition with the card game series Yu-Gi-Oh! And its anime as well.
Your move.
Which had more of a darker fantasy element to it compared to Pokemon, which I kind of played as a kid. So, they're both fun to play, you know, with friends and others. The series would also have two others that would try to take over the light that the Pokemon had, or, you know, try to say, hey, let's try to get off, like, you know, try to get the attention of this. In this case, Digimon, which came out in 1997, which started with its own virtual pets, sort of like Tamagotchis. Getting its own series about a boy named Tai and his Digimon Agumon, and others going on adventures as well. Especially that kick-ass music whenever that Digi-Evolution happened, man.
Agumon, Digivolve too?
Pokemon would continue getting films as the years would go by, and Ash would go on to different regions and fight in those tournaments with Pikachu by his side, with new friends as the years went by. But still being 10. From 2002 till 2004, the games would be on the Game Boy Advance with titles such as Ruby and Sapphire in 2002, and then Fire Red and Leaf Green in 2004, along with Pokemon Emerald in 2004. From 2006 up until 2012, the games would move to the DS, with Diamond and Pearl, Platinum, Heart Gold, and Soul Silver, Black and White, and Black and White 2 as well. There were other games that would come out at times that weren't really connected to the main, like, you know, series, like, say, entries in the games, whether it was, like, say, Pokemon Pinball. I think it was like Pokemon Dungeons or something like that, where like you were like turned into a Pokemon and you had to get out of, try to figure out how to become a human again, and as well as Detective Pikachu, which would eventually get its own film adaptation in 2019, with Pikachu being voiced by everyone's favorite Canadian, Ryan Reynolds.
Hi, sorry, you can hear him, right? You can hear him talking.
Yeah, Pika Pika Pika, he's adorable.
You're adorable. They can't understand me, kid.
It's me. It's that stuff that I put up my nose.
Unless you're a Canadian, unless you're a Trekkie, then your favorite one is obviously going to be William Shatner. So, what is honestly, what is your favorite Pokemon game? What is your favorite Pokemon film? Do you have a favorite Pokemon card that you love to share, or like, you know, like say, hey, this is one of my favorites?
Behind the Pokeball comes Pikachu, the most recognizable of the over 480 characters in the Pokemon universe.
Superstars of video games, trading cards, and numerous feature films, Pikachu stands only 1 foot 4 inches tall in its long-running animated series, but its presence in the parade is electrifying, cruising the skies.
Like, yeah, like, do you love Pokemon as well? I'll see you next time.